Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here. This is your planning outlook updated on Friday evening, the 21st of June. The summer solstice has been a decidedly chilly one across the mountains. Things will be warming up though as we go into the final week of June as we draw in a humid air mass from the southeast. In the short term, the weekend is largely dry, not immune from one or two showers. Things are changing from the south across Wales on Sunday. And the outlook for next week is then looking rather messy, with some thundery rain in there at times. Let's try and pick through the detail. Then the weekend, first of all, and for most places, Saturday looks a fair picture. There's one or two showers possible locally across the Highlands, very local ones across the Pennines. Many places staying dry and the showers not as lively as have been around in recent days. Low cloud tending to lift and break where it occurs, so many tops should be clearing. Temperatures lifting too compared to recent days. The east or southeasterly wind will strengthen as we go into Sunday. There's again the risk of one or two isolated showers around. Most places, chances are getting away with a dry and a bright one. A frontal system, though, gathering itself toward the southwest, is threatening to move into Wales. Now, later in the day, a greater risk of some thundery rain breaking out. It could be rather hit and miss, but Wales and then into the Peak District, and by Sunday night, that whole plume is likely to move further northwards. And that's the suggestion of where we get to by Monday daytime. The risk of some heavy, in places torrential rain pushing northwards through the early hours into Monday morning. A chance that that sticks around across the Highlands for a good many hours. The wind from the east will be strong, even gale force for a period, but behind that frontal system it could drop markedly to leave very little wind as the isobars just open out. It's an awkward one for detail. How quickly that system pushes northwards toward the far north is uncertain, and equally following that across England and Wales, the extent of any further thundery showers also uncertain. The wriggling weather front that's trailing back will have got a humid atmosphere to work with, so some lively downpours with thunder and torrential bursts of rain across Wales, the Pennines, possibly the Lake District as well. Always a possibility for Monday daytime. A pretty saturated atmosphere likely to have developed, so a lot of low cloud and fog across many of the hills and mountains. Local breaks are possible though. And it's that humid atmosphere that will stick with us into the middle of the week, and increasingly uncertain in terms of the absolute detail. The main message is high pressure toward the north, low pressure toward the south. A very humid atmosphere being drawn out of continental Europe across England and Wales at least, and on this warm front shown here, the suggestion of some heavy, perhaps thundery bursts of rain breaking out. A chance that much of Scotland may well be away from this and in for a largely dry day. The risk, though, of the atmosphere still having been saturated from the rain that will have been around on Monday, so the threat of a fair amount of low cloud, especially on eastern hills where the wind is directly in off the North Sea. Best chance for some breaks then more across the western side of the Highlands, and for all, generally a warmer day than recently. Detail very sketchy then into the middle of the week, but the overall message is one of a very humid east by southeasterly airflow being drawn out of continental Europe. A lot of low cloud, maybe covering many hills and mountains all day. Some breaks possible, again, probably best toward the west and northwest of Scotland. The humidity will get to work, and the risk of some thundery downpours breaking out is always going to be there. Very hit and miss in terms of where these form. The wind not particularly strong, but could be gusty if showers do develop. I think I'd keep a very close eye on the forecast detail by this stage. It will be warm, it'll be muggy, but always that threat then of some bursts of rain. The big picture then for the middle of the week is looking something like this. It's a horseshoe really of high pressure that extends around from the Azores towards Iceland and back into Central Europe, and a plume of hot and humid air being drawn from North Africa across the Mediterranean into Central Europe, and we're just about feeling the effects of that across the British Isles too. The highest of the temperatures more across the south and southeast of England, but most places will feel some added warmth compared to what we've seen recently, and that humidity to go with it. A zone of low pressure is stuck really just to the southwest of us, and the whole thing just revolving around slowly over a few days during the middle of the week leads to a very complicated pattern then for a time, even into the second half of the week. Basically the warmth and the humidity will still be around, the risk of some thundery downpours always in there, I think even later in the week. Just as we head towards next weekend, the suggestion is that the high pressure cell over Central Europe will begin to push a little bit further eastwards. We'll start to see a trough of lower pressure just develop more over the Atlantic and dragging fresher conditions in from the west with time. So by the time we get to next weekend, we may well be looking back to the Atlantic for our general weather influences, with cooler, fresher, showery conditions perhaps still in the picture, and high pressure having subsided away toward the south. So still a mixed weather pattern. It doesn't look as cool as it has done recently, but temperatures at the very least likely to go back down again after that brief burst of heat and humidity in the middle of the week. So it looks like quite a change of feel compared to the chilly times we've had recently across the mountains. A much more muggy atmosphere will be in charge through the middle of the week. Stay right up to date then with the latest forecast. There will be some uncertainties in the absolute detail more than a day or so ahead in these complicated situations. So keep up to date with all your local details on our website and the social media feeds as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.